So I don't know about you guys, but nothing will test the strength of your health like a new job. Or at least transition into one, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it was September of 2014, and up until that point, I had lived pretty well. I have asthma, but I have an inhaler, so that's fine. I get by with running and just get a puff in. I had a heart murmur as a kid, but that dissipated when I was a young adult. And I dislocated my shoulder a few years ago, but I got back into playing sports and did some PT. But September 2014 was a different deal because this new job was stressing me to no ends. Unbeknownst to my friends, I had this feeling that I needed to leave working as a public radio producer. Many friends were like, I don't understand, this is great, you get to hang out with all these amazing people at NPR, why would you ever do that? And I said, I kind of want to make more money and see what else is out there, what I can do with my skills. And so I got swayed by this amazing car rental sort of program company that I had used that was coming to New York, and they said, hey, we need a marketing person, I think you'd be the right guy, how about we bring you on board? And I said, okay, sure. And I just had never heard the word bonus attached to my name. Like, you could get more money for doing what you did. And I thought, this is great. But a month in, I was already stressing out. I had tons of meetings. I was making these marketing plans. I had no marketing background. I was making these partnership and sponsorship deals. People were emailing me constantly. I was working 6-7 days a week, 60, 70 hours at a time. And it was insane. And so the one free day I have, I go to my friend's place. I grab some beer and a burrito, and we sit down, and we hang out, we're catching up before we go to a concert. And I remember feeling kind of shaky and kind of weird. I took off my glasses for a second, rubbed my eyes. I stood up and sat down, and he said, are you okay? And I said, no, I just need a minute, Kyle, I'm fine. And when I stood up again, it felt like time and space just slowed down. And I had no idea what was going on. I couldn't react or tell him how I was feeling. The next thing I know, I come to it, I'm in the hospital. And I have no idea why. And Kyle's by my side, and I have an IV in my arm. And I said, Kyle, what happened? And he said, you had a seizure. I said, you gotta be kidding me. This doesn't run in my family. I've never had a seizure in my entire life. I have no idea how this would happen. And so the doctors are running tests, and they said, yeah, also, so when you fell over, you also fell on your shoulder, so you dislocated your shoulder. So I'd already dislocated my left shoulder a few years before that. The right shoulder was now messed up. And so not only was I trying to deal with what it meant to have a seizure, what that really meant, because I didn't remember anything of it, but I had to deal with my busted arm. So I'm in the hospital for a couple of days. Luckily, my girlfriend, who was up on the Upper East Side, I was in Park Slope at the time, she was on the Upper East Side at some happy hour, a couple glasses in on some wine, and biked down to see me, which probably wasn't the best thing, but she was there by my side the whole time. We're running through tests and everything, trying to figure it out. Doctors don't really know why, but they said they're going to monitor me. I'm going to start going to a neurologist to see what the problem is. And so I go to this neurologist at a hospital in Park Slope for a couple months. And while I'm in physical therapy, I'm also trying to figure out what is going on with my life. I'm in my late 20s. I'm generally healthy. I run, I bike. Maybe drink a little bit too much, but I don't know why this is happening. And my mom starts to get worried. She comes up and sees me, and I keep reassuring her that it's going to be fine. So a few months go by, doctor says nothing, I don't need any medication or anything, I just need to make sure I get enough sleep. And so work's getting more stressful, I'm still trying to stay confident, and I think everything's gonna be fine. And then the next episode happens March of 2015, and I sort of saw it coming actually, now that I think about it. So it's 8 a.m., I'm rushing to get in the shower, trying to get to work, and all of a sudden I have that same sort of I'm in a bubble, don't hear anything, can't figure out what's going on, but that feeling goes away within 10 seconds. And I ignore it, which was the wrong thing to do. And so I brush it off, I go to work, get to work, it's about noon, I haven't really eaten anything, I know I need to get lunch. So I tell my coworkers I'm gonna get up, grab some food, I'll come back in a little bit. And I remember getting up and going through that same pattern, rubbing my eyes because they hurt, I think I had my glasses on too long, looking at the screen, I ignore it. But then I remember the whole thing. I stood up, sat down, stood up again, and all of a sudden couldn't really react with anybody. Everything seemed like it was moving in slow motion. Next thing I know, I black out. I come to it, this time in a stretcher in the elevator of the building I'm in, going down into the ambulance. And the EMT's by my side. I said, "What happened?" He said, "You had a seizure." I'm like, "Again? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it." It's like Groundhog Day or something. And my coworkers were by my side, and they were trying to comfort me. I mean, IVs in my arms, still trying to figure out what's going on. I thought I had this under control. I've never had something just recur so many times that had left me thinking like really deep thoughts, like what am I going to do with my life? Like I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to see things. Am I going to have surgery? Unfortunately, I dislocated my shoulder again. I mean, I'd already been fine. I already went through physical therapy. Already messed up again. Luckily, I didn't break anything. Still dislocated. Still really hurts. If you ever had your shoulder or anything pop back in, I don't wish it upon you. It is one of the worst feelings. So we're in the hospital. This time, I end up staying longer. My girlfriend's in Pennsylvania at this time. Luckily, she gets her brother to drive her back to New York. But she's in a hospital, not for her own purpose, but because her niece was in the hospital for some sort of surgery. Luckily, that surgery was over. Her family was there by her niece's side, so she was able to come see me. And I am just like distraught, trying to figure out what's going on. I'm in the ER for hours upon hours, hearing other patients wail and scream for nurses, trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, it's like really terrifying. And again, as a younger, who I think is a pretty healthy guy, I'm still trying to figure out what is going on. Like, why is my body not like failing me? And so we go through more tests, and I'm at a different hospital this time. This one's down in Bay Ridge. And immediately my girlfriend, the healthcare professional she is, says, number one, you need a different neurologist. Someone should have been monitoring you, maybe prescribed you medication, even though they said it was an isolated incident, quote unquote. So that's number one. We have a new neurologist. She puts me on medication right away, go through a series of tests, have to go into the OR to get my shoulder popped back in.
Ouch.
That was the least of my worries. I was really worried about how is my daily life going to change? And I wasn't even worried about work at this point, though my mom was like, I think you just need to quit this job. You're 6 months in, you've been in the hospital twice, this has never happened to you.
Oh, no.
I think, you sure you don't miss radio? You sure? And so I'm sitting there contemplating, what do I do? I haven't told stories in a while. I was going through, I wasn't eating that well. I really wasn't sleeping that well either. And I was just hoping, please just, if putting me on medication is going to help, that's great. I'm not resisting at all. I've never resisted medication. I'm like, I'll be fine. So long as something, I can take every day helps me out. And so that's what ended up happening. I got out of the hospital 4 days later.
Wow.
Home for a little bit for the weekend. I go back to work. My coworkers and our CEO flew into town are just really concerned about me, making sure that I get back into my mode in a steady pace. And immediately we go to the new neurologist, and he's telling us that I have to really kind of be careful about what I do. So immediate restrictions. Number one, in the state of New York, if you have a seizure and you have a license, you cannot drive for 6 months.
Oh.
And ironically, even though I lived in New York, I worked for a car rental company, so I had to drive at some point. So that was tough. Number two, I couldn't exercise alone for at least 3 months, which was okay because my girlfriend lived nearby and we ran a bike together. But then number three, she was getting up to move back to Philly for grad school. So I actually, when it came to 6 months out, I could exercise by myself, but I had to exercise in an area where it was, in a loop in a park. So if I, God forbid, I fell over, someone could find me. And I'm like, I just never been monitored like this. I've gone on 10-mile runs by myself and 30-mile bike rides and traveled across different countries on my own. So I'm feeling really enclosed and encapsulated. But luckily, it just must have been some patience and just the medication working out, that's what they said for the first year. It's going to be an experiment. We're not sure if the medication is going to work. There are other ones we might have to increase or decrease your dosage. So luckily, the medications worked, and the job unfortunately kept getting worse. But I was still trying to brush off the stress. I would go out for lunch. I would just not think about it on weekends. But things got better. Before they got worse, and I celebrated 1 year seizure-free this past March.
Oh, nice.
And so that was great. I got out of that job a couple months before that, even better.
Yeah.
Got back into radios, which is even better than that. And even though I had some restrictions on what I can do, which there are things that I was already okay, I think I'm okay, not skydiving ever or bungee jumping ever. I can't do those. I can't scuba dive either. That's the thing, but I think I can live with that. But even though I'm taking a pill twice a day, I think I could be far, far worse than I really am. And I'm just thankful to even just be here up on the stage today, just talking to you guys.
Yes.
So, all right, thank you.